Hello, quilt makers. Rumor has it everybody likes ice cream, and I've got a great stitch to prove it. That's right. Let's practice our ice cream swirls. It's going to build off of the wishbones we were just doing in the last video. So are you ready? Let's get stitching. Well, there's no reason to keep you all waiting any longer. Welcome back. My name is Appell from Stitchin Heaven in Quitman, Texas. Thanks for joining us here at So Well on YouTube. We are deep into the free motion machine quilting of this quilt. We were tackling the wishbone style, and then I advanced it by doubling it up, the crazy double up wishbone for all of you wakeboarders out there. So we're having fun, and I found myself in this other perfect placement, and I'm actually gonna just start right in on the quilt now. I'm feeling pretty warmed up. I've actually been filming all of this series in one day because I feel like being warmed and in tune and ready to quilt is part of our battle that we all fight. So today's my day, and we're doing it together. In this same channel we've got right here, we can do what I kind of call is the ice cream swirls. Let me show you what they look like. We're just going to dive right in today, and then we'll break it down on a practice piece for everybody that's brand new to machine quilting. If it's the first time to the channel, welcome. I would ask you to subscribe, but you're probably a little in the dark. You're like, what's this dude talking about? I think that there's more to learn, and there is. This is called the easiest log cabin quilt ever, and we have a whole series of videos. I'll make us a playlist for all of this and everything. But yeah, I was diving into the middle of this process. So please subscribe. Please smash that like button if you're enjoying the content. But also be aware, you might be maybe stepped into the middle of this project as well. And I've got all of the other videos behind this one for you. So back into our ice cream swirls, it's gonna basically be an S, where if our wishbones before were more of a cursive L, this is gonna be a very light S curve. So I'm gonna kind of come down and just kind of create an S curve, and then I'm gonna follow it back, but I'm gonna tuck my stitch back up. I'm gonna come down, kind of following, and you can do a lot with this to create curve and motif, dimension and movement. If you get too wild, it might be a little hard to see. And again, this is one of those really cool filler stitches. So as I'm doing it, it might be a little bit challenging for you to see because I'm filling my purple right now with my purple threads in the variegated. And I find that a lot of times we need to continue our density of the machine quilting, but we can't show off in every stitch. We need a resting point. Now the cool thing about this kind of design is it's not as linear as the wishbone. So I can actually start to curve this design and come around and do things with it that allow me to go in other motions. I can put a circle in and another circle here, and then I can actually kind of start to carry that same motion in a new direction. Now this is what the quilt was speaking to me with when I got here, and I said, hey, let's roll cameras again and do this, because it fits perfectly in the quilt. But I am aware that you may be having a harder time seeing it, so in just a second, we're going to pull out that practice piece. I think it's starting to develop again there, that you might be able to see it. And it's kind of fun because you can throw that backwards little swirl in there. And like I said, you can use it to move all over as you need in your design. I'm going to rotate this quilt now. My needle is not moving at all, so it's safe for me to rotate the quilt, mostly so that you can see the motif that we were just doing here. That was what we were just stitching on. You can see where I rotated directions around a circle and kept going out this way. What I like about these kind of designs is you can see that they lift up. They cause that what I always call that loft. We're crushing down threads and spaces and then looking for the quilting to come upward. This is kind of a doodle style motif that's going everywhere. I should say a doodle style quilt. It's uniformly quilted, but kind of in single density. The pros like Christina Camilli or Angela Walters, or my favorite in this specific style of graffiti quilting, Carly Porter, there's backfilling going on. There's tracing of the stitches going back on. There's taking a zone like this and then filling it in with a little bit of extra space. So before we move on from this project, I think I can do it in here a little bit to show you what I'm referring to. Just for a little show off moment. It may or may not go well because I have so much of the quilt now hanging off of the edge of the table. I'm just gonna tuck it in, try to keep everything as comfortable as possible. I'm gonna chase my way over here and we're gonna try to do something fancy in a couple of these to show you what I'm referring to, but I can't do too much of it because if I do too much of it, then as good quilters would, we would keep doing that same density over and over again. The quilting gods are with me because I just ran out of bobbin thread before I started into my demo. So let's go ahead and stop here because that's what I've got to do. Unfortunately, I'm going to go needle up. I'm going to move the quilt out of the way. Now, had I been changing top thread, no problem. But because now I'm changing bottom thread, I've really got to move everything. So we're just going to go ahead and cut my top thread. Really a terrible place to lose a good game of bobbin chicken. But fortunately for us all, folks, I have been quilting all day. So like I said, I have lots of bobbins ready. So that won't take but a moment for us to reload. One of the things I love about this handy quilter machine is I can actually wind bobbins and quilt at the same time. It has a second motor and a second spool and everything for that. So it's really pretty dang cool. So I get in the habit of, and check it out, I'm even going to be able to do this with my gloves on, I hope, while you're watching, of course. I'm just going to go ahead and run that thread real quick up through the center of the bobbin. There's a little cutout for this on this machine. Then you just push this over and you push this button down. I like to stop it after a couple of seconds to cut that thread tail. And then I'm going to let that finish literally while we're putting the machine back together. So yeah, the bobbin is already back in. Plate. You can see here that old beat up sew slip mount that I love and use. About time to get myself a Supreme slider, I think. Let's see here. Ah, it's so gooey. There we go. Perfect. Line that hole back up. All right. And now, where were we? Over here. Right there. Okay, let's tuck this quilt back up. Let's get back to the movie at hand. Now though, because of the way that things happened before, I'm going to come back in, I'm going to drop needle down, needle up like we always do, bringing up the new bobbin thread. I'm going to take a moment and tie in all that stuff together, lock my stitches down, my needle down, and come on over here into this design. Okay, so now that we're back into one of the sections of our S-curve, we could do some small circles, following them all the way back around. Within that motif, and then there's a nice little path where I could go over, and you want to skip one. And then the more you go over your designs, the more those designs will actually show up because you're using more thread, accentuating the eye to that spot. And again, we don't want to do too much of this because then I'll want to do it everywhere because it looks so terrific. But I can do a little bit of it. It doesn't always have to be the same design. And hopefully there you can see now how that's played out a little bit more, and that over time, especially after wash, those will crush down and that'll loft up. So it's a really, really fun way of doing this. Now that I know we've got a full bobbin, I'm going to go ahead and tie off in the middle of these designs. So once again, needle up, pull my thread, cut it nice and close. Looks like I got my bobbin too. Don't you love that trick? All right, and now let's go ahead and do it all over again, but so that we can really see what's happening, okay? So as I was saying earlier, this is the design from the other video where we were just doing a basic wishbone, and then we got ahead and we went a doubled up wishbone. And so now what we were doing was an ice cream swirl, and I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better in here, but again, it's a really great filler motif. So just kind of set yourself any kind of a curve and then just kind of come in wide from it. Narrow it in. You don't always have to go back to that end. Sometimes that helps you stay in the sashing or the border that you're working within. So you can see how the filler works pretty nice, but anytime you need to switch directions, you can throw a new design in and then start to switch it up. Earlier, I mentioned using a bigger practice piece so it's easier to hold on to. And right now, folks, this is my excuse for the day. My stitches look terrible on this because I can't grip and I can't do very good. So I could put my needle down and I could move this like this now so that at least I have a better grip with both hands. And now back to the design at hand. This also plays really nice off of the side of feathers. You could imagine like a peacock, a real natural peacock with that circle in the middle of it, and the way that those feathers could play off, right? With your paisley in there. Yes, I'm showing off. But then you could do your designs off in the other direction. So by playing with a little bit of these baseline designs, we get to a point where we start to feel confident to draw with our sewing machines. And have fun with whatever starts to happen as the quilt moves below the machine in this formula. A little more organic, a little less stressful in my opinion. You can see I'm adding in some new kinds of concepts with doing something fun on the ends. And also maybe I should point out, notice the pace of the sewing machine. That's just my foot. And as soon as I start to brag, of course, I mess up the stitches, but I wanted you to be able to just hear that rhythm. I'm listening to that the whole time, making sure that everything's running smooth as I go. So I really hope that is helpful for you to be able to see the practice. I'm sure you're loving the log cabin quilt coming together. I really want to get this thing ready for a road trip. I'm excited to show it off on. So I think I'm going to wrap up this series pretty quick. I'm going to come back with one last video where we tie it all together on the quilt and we just have some serious fun. It might even be a bonus video for one of these weeks. But again, I just want to tell you all how much I appreciate you supporting me doing these videos. It really helps our community grow. If you have friends out there that are interested in machine quilting, if you have friends that are talking about their struggles with machine quilting, please share our videos with them. I really believe it will help them. It is such an exciting thing to know how many new quilters are out there. So for any rate, I'm super excited. I'm kind of rambling on, but nonetheless, I'm very, very happy to have seen you all here today. Make sure you do subscribe, smash that like button, and we will see you next time. Until then, please stay well. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. It really helps support our channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Hit the little button to be notified every time we go live or do a new video for all of you. And here's one from the past I think you'll really enjoy.